Mike, turn your games down.
Hi everyone, what are you playing? Episode of Games My Mom Found. This is for August of 2024. I am Mike Albertin, and who is playing some games with me tonight?
Hi, Spelled Cutie. I am back, and I am a reformed person. Mike has worn me down. We'll get into that very soon.
And I'm Kyle, and I've been enjoying, or trying to enjoy the summer and play some video games and enjoy some other things as well.
And this is Richard Sampson here from the YouTube channel Rich Kale and various fanfiction sites all over there. And we're here today to talk about other video games than Marvel Snap.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Hold on. Wait. Listen, I need to have, like, a detox. I've been alone for so long. Not as long as Mike, but, you know.
Oh, please. I understand that. Well, I understand alone. I understand that. I'm also a widower with a child, a teenager. So, you know, I can understand alone, too. But I have to rib on him
Marvel Snap
every month.
And be one of us.
Marvel Snap added, like, guilds. You can go join a guild now. You'll be less alone.
Yeah, you can. The guilds are pretty damn cool, actually. Or is it guild or leagues? What do they call them? Alliances.
Alliance, that's it.
You're just every time though he mentions Marvel Snap, my mind will think about all the some of the fixed stuff I have that's been put on that back burner due to circumstances.
And Marvel Snap's been as great as it's always been. Still, like I'm still loving the game, playing every day. We just finished the Deadpool season, and we are currently in the Young Avengers season.
Yeah, so I've been on this podcast a few times, and Mike's talked about it often, to which I've scoffed and guffawed appropriately. I played Hearthstone a long time ago, and I tried Marvel Snap for like a few games. I couldn't get into it, but something about a new job and not having time and just needing something you can do quickly for like 2 to 5 minutes and then just stop, and it just suddenly clicked. And also, so I was playing a little bit before the Deadpool season, but then they did the Deadpool season, and that's when I finally actually put money on the game for the first time, and probably last time, because Deadpool's my favorite. So
you say that, but I also said I wasn't going to put money on this game, and they have gotten well over $200 from me. So
oh no, not. I remember. I think it was just buying the season itself. I think that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's an every month thing. You get that joy every single month to buy the season.
Before that season, the Deadpool season, the one thing I was going to talk about before anything else was how every time I open that stupid game, all I see is Wolverine's ridiculous fucking chin that makes no sense to me, and I just would stare at it, and it'd make me angry. But then they did the Deadpool one, and they had a different loading screen, and now for Young Justice or whatever, I don't even know Marvel that well. Young Avengers, thank you. They have a new one as well, and so it's been nice to have a break, but I'm sure they'll come back to the classic one, and yeah, if you don't know Marvel Snap at all, maybe you like X-Men, I don't know, just look up Wolverine chin Marvel Snap, and I'm sure you get a picture. It's so rectangular. It's ridiculous. I don't get it.
It was there for a long time, and it will be back, because they normally have that opening every time you turn the game on, so you will see that again.
But yeah, I mean, it's been fine. Like, I didn't like... So with the Deadpool one, and then right after the Deadpool one, they did an event, which they said was the first time they'd done it, or I guess it was at the end of the Deadpool one. Leagues, yeah. And I didn't really like either of them. They were very stressful to me a little bit, because I felt like I had to really put in a lot of time, especially with Leagues, in a very short amount of time, which is not how I like to play that game. But thankfully it was Deadpool, so it was at least a little more into it. But yeah, besides that, though, I have liked it more and more. I feel like I'm starting to hit a wall a little bit, because I've just finally got past around, like, it's called, like, card collection rank 1,000.
Are you in 3 now?
I don't know. I don't know. That's as far as I got.
You're probably in pool 3, and that's when the game starts to slow down a bit, because you don't get cards as often, and the pool is huge.
Yeah, and I think the problem I have is I feel like, yeah, I'm probably in a new, like, group, and I'm just hitting a lot of the same cards that I don't have, like, most of them. And so it's not even like, oh, I'll build a deck that has that or something similar going on. Because I feel like with Hearthstone, you know, you have different control. You have basically different, it's like a commander decks in Magic the Gathering where you have different leader, and there's like a leader power. And so you could build leaders with styles of decks and do kind of interesting combos. And I feel like Marvel Snap is one step lower, where it's like you can just build types of decks. You can build a destroy deck. You can build a deck maybe centered around a specific card that has a power 20, but you can't play 5th turn, so you can do something fun like the 4th turn. So there's like some, but a lot of it feels a lot more just like there's a handful of strategies.
It will get much, much better as you progress through the game. So don't take it in a bad light right now. Like, I know what you mean, and you are right, but it does get better because as you start to collect more and more of Pool 3, you'll start having the cards that you want. Plus, as you play more, you'll have the spotlight caches that you'll be able to open.
Yeah,
you'll be all brand new cards. So you'll be getting more and more like Pool 4, Pool 5 cards that you would have never gotten otherwise. And then the game will get better in that aspect.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how it goes from here and what other new types of events. I haven't had a chance to try an alliance yet because I was waiting for us to talk. But yeah,
you're not essentially all alliances is you join something and then as you play the game, your points are tallied up. How much cubes you win, and if you do the bounties, which are like particular missions, like win 16 matches with Luke Cage in your deck, stuff like that. But you can only pick the bounties for stuff that you actually can do. Otherwise, someone else from the league, from your alliance, has to pick it.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll save just for you the main card I've been running with and use the most, and I think I have the most wins with,
is a Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur decks are always really fun for me.
Yes.
Just like also the Collector, usually pairing it with that is like the main one I've been rocking for the
See, you're already finding some of the combos.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's ones I like, but there's like, I forget, it's actually a card that I just encountered because I started watching Loki. It's the big ball of gas. I don't remember what it's called. I want to say like
Alios.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah, I've been seeing that in Marvel Snap, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this thing is, but I hate it because people always use it and it works really well. And then I just coincidentally, I was watching Loki. I was like, oh, it's that fucking thing. I hate that thing.
It used to be worse. It used to delete all cards when it was played, and then they changed it to where it was when it was. Well, essentially what it was is when you played it first, if you had priority, it would destroy all unrevealed. Well, no, I think at first it destroyed all cards. Then it became all unrevealed cards.
Now it's all unrevealed, I think. So.
Now, no, it just erases the text.
Oh, that's it.
So it takes away their ability. It used to just destroy all the cards.
That's bananas. That's so wild.
I mean, I had it day one, so I was like, man, this card is great. But if you're not one of those people that had it it pissed off people. That's why I got you.
Well, I still hate it, but I would have definitely hated it a lot more. But
I mean, they do change everything up in this game. If there's any cards that's being overpowered that's upsetting the meta, like Thanos used to at one point was a defining card in the meta, and that changed. They're really, really good about looking at the game every single week and making adjustments to cards. And if a card is unplayed, they try to make it more fun. They try to make it more playable. Like Wolverine used to be a bullshit card, and they made him better. And like they always are making changes to this game.
Yeah, I'll be kind of curious to see, because I think I've been playing for about a month or two now, and I'll be curious in time to see
how much it still sticks around. Because I also like re-downloaded and played like Vampire Survivors almost all the way to the end, just 'cause I don't think I ever finished it before. And so like those have been the main two phone games where I'm like, oh, if I have a little bit longer, and I have nothing to do, I'll just do that. But if I only have a little bit, Marvel Snap's what I've gone to. But that's probably that's probably a good amount of Snap talk for now.
No, it is. I have a limit to how long I'll do it because I don't want to bore the people that are with me.
But yeah, we should add each other. You should have any alliance after this. We'll talk after.
I'm just in someone else's random alliance. We don't have any.
Oh, hopefully there's
but Richard, what is something you've been playing?
Well, I have decided to embark on some replays. I mean, I've been replaying Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, the Switch edition. It just feels good to play that. That was my first Zelda game that I actually owned and beat myself. So yeah, it is a great game, and it's fun to replay it. I mean, I'm just right now trying to get as much of everything else that I can. I only have like a few shells and hearts to get yet. That I'll just have to, kick it up, do a little fishing, and also complete those make your own dungeon things to finish that off before I go after the Thill for the. I lost count how many times I've beaten him in that game over the years. I mean, when you've written a walkthrough for the game, you've done your best to find where everything is and correct the mistakes in a Nintendo Power game guide. I kid you not. I actually could. They did make mistakes in their game guide when they released it.
Happened, especially back then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. but it's just a bit. It's nostalgia for me, and I also started in on a replay of a game. I'm sure Mike will eventually put it on the show, and I'm probably sure he'll ask me to be part of it. I mean, Mike knows that you always know a working Joe.
Oh God, you're talking about isolation, aren't you?
Yes, I am, and I'm playing it with a controller this time.
I have thought about it so many times, but then I'm like, then I got to replay it. And I beat it right before the podcast started, and I'm just not ready to go back yet.
He's not ready for a change in trousers, but
that game
he's going to be watching. He's going to be watching the movie again. I'm looking forward to that episode too.
I really like that game.
But yeah, and those are also in addition to all the games I play through for my channel. You know, I was playing a little BioShock 2 earlier today.
Good game.
Yeah, it is a good game, and I'm getting close to finishing some other games that I've been playing through. And I'm also enjoying another game that we'll be talking about in November on this podcast. I'm not going to say the name.
I don't even know what you're talking about, and I write the schedule, so
I'll tell you this. I'm also playing Jolly Rover right now, and I am avoiding you going into the pirate talk because let's face it, that's going to break that's going to torture my throat, especially if you make us talk like that for the whole episode.
I will not be, but
I'm sure. Yeah, that's what Mike does. It's always themed. He twists our arms behind our backs, says, "You better do it, or I'm kicking you out." Behind the scenes.
Let's face it. With the episode for Liberation, I dusted off some of my old French that I knew and added some new to do the intro for that. Which again, for any of the listeners in France, I'm sorry if I butchered the beautiful language that French is.
Oh, I think just as Americans, our existence, if we
interact with anything French, usually we're butchering it.
Well, let's say, I took French in high school, and that was like the 90s, early 90s. And I had a good teacher for that, and she was very nice. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she's still, I've not seen anything about her passing or anything like that, but I'd be surprised if she's still in the world. And if she's up there, I hope she gives me credit for trying it.
Right. And Kyle, what is something you've been playing?
Well, I've been playing a few miscellaneous things, but to start things off, I believe the last time I was here for an episode, for a What Have You Been Playing episode, I was talking about how I played and finished the first Ganbare Goemon RPG for the Famicom.
Yes.
Well, I'm actually currently playing the sequel, Part 2, for the Famicom. And it's been kind of an odd experience because there's a lot of things they made a lot better for the sequel, but there's some things that I don't know if this was, I don't think they were actually intentional. A few things they made just a slightly bit worse, and it's been kind of an odd experience. The game itself feels a bit more of a slog. I really feel like your party is constantly outnumbered considering the enemies you fight, where the first game had a consistent party member numbering. Like, you'd usually have at least, like, you start the game off with 2 party members, Goemon and Ibisumaru, and then as the game continues in the first game, you get a 3rd and 4th party member, and they stay consistent. They never leave your game. Aside from, like, one part, but that's only for, like, a few minutes in the game, and then you get them back. Well, in the second game, there's a consistent thing where your 4th party member constantly leaves your party. Like, in fact, you have, like, you have at least, I think, about 5 different 4th party members, and most of them, if not all of them, are all temporary. You'll have 3 party members as your consistent numbering, where your 4th party member is almost always temporary. And I gotta say, it actually kind of hurts the game. Makes it a bit more of a slog. Some of the enemies feel a little cheaper, which really sucks because, like, the game feels so much more polished. Ironically enough, for all what I'm saying right now, like, it really feels like Konami really tried with this, and, like, the graphics look a lot better, and everything else feels a lot more polished. But then just, like, these odd little things come up where I'm like, Konami, you really could have done. You could have done a lot better with this, and it's such an odd experience. And I am very close and near to the ending of the game. And I want to finish it. I do want to finish it and see to the end. I am enjoying it, but there have been a few times where I've had to put the controller down and just either stop playing video games for a bit or play something different, because it just feels like it's a bit of a slog. I am making progress. I am getting further and further into the game, but just, I don't know, like, it's such an odd, like, back and forth situation where it feels like Konami did make some improvements for this game, but there's also a few setbacks. And if, Mike, if you were to ever cover any of the going-on games and you covered the specific Famicom RPG games, I feel like I would really have quite the dissertation about the sequel. But that's just me. But yeah, I've been playing that, and it's been fun for what it is. Let's see, other things I've been playing. I have been playing. What else have I been playing? I'm also playing because I've never actually completed the game, but I've gotten further each time I've played it. I'm playing Crystallis for the NES. Both developed and published by SNK. I've played it at various points in my life. So my history with the game, and it's kind of weird, is that I actually, for the first time I ever played the game was actually through the awful Game Boy Color version. Not developed by SNK, but developed by a team in Nintendo of America. I played that first because I was on a vacation, a summer vacation, and the cabin we were staying at was right beside a city, and we got to go to Blockbuster, and because we brought a VCR and a small TV, because I brought my Game Boy Color, my mom allowed me to rent a couple of Game Boy games, so I did, and it's one of the games I rented. Anyways, and then I finally played the NES version when I was a couple years older, and I was like, oh yeah, this is much better. And then, I really liked it, but I never made that much progress into the game. But now I'm actually finally doing so. I just started the game about a week and a half ago. I'm still in I'm in the Toxic Forest. I'm going to hopefully clear that off, fight the boss, and rescue the baby that you have to rescue. But yeah, I've been playing through Crystallis, and it's a good, solid game. Kind of interesting that it's from SNK of all developers. I feel like I never would have guessed that SNK of all companies would have an East-like Zelda-like action RPG in their system, or in their bones, but I guess they did, and it's pretty good for what it is. I'm actually playing a ROM-hacked version that brings some quality of life improvements and cuts the grinding out a little bit.
That's always nice.
Yeah, and it is much better than the original game, even though the original game itself is still pretty good. I think this really bumps it from being a 7 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10, or a 10 out of 10. But yeah, this is a rock solid game, and the quality of life ROM hack is even better, and it really rockets it forward to a 10 out of 10. What else have I been playing? I've been playing some of the same olds in my life. I've been in the mood for a lot of beat-em-ups, so I've been playing some of my favorites like Final Fight 3 for the Super Nintendo, the Streets of Rage games. I've been playing a couple of arcade games as well on MAME. So I've been playing those, and I'm also going back a little on my bullshit that I mentioned on my last appearance on the show. I'm still on the kick for board game video games, and one that I'm currently playing right now for the Super Famicom, and I'm actually having quite a bit of fun with it, is a special fan English translated game called Dokapon 321 for the Super Famicom. That got a fan English translation, and it's a lot of fun. It has some RPG elements, and it very much plays like a board game, and yeah, it's really good stuff, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And that's just about all that I've been playing. I think I have a few more things to talk about, but I'll let everybody else, have some more turns as well. So okay. That's mate.
I had been curious what version of Crystallis you were playing, but you had mentioned that it was a ROM hack. I know that the SNK collection, I still have it wishlist on GOG, has Crystallis in it.
Yep, and it's the NES version. That's the version I'm playing, and that's the version that's on the SNK collection.
I've actually played and beaten the Game Boy one. I enjoyed that one.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was one on Game Boy.
Yeah, on Game Boy Color. Yeah, okay. I mentioned.
Okay, maybe I did know that.
Yeah. I mentioned that a few minutes ago, but that's just that. But the NES version's a much better game than that crappy Game Boy Color port, and the soundtrack's also really good, and the gameplay's really solid. It's good stuff.
All right, and Milk, what is some other stuff that you've been playing?
Well, I mean, I think I'll go back on my bullshit too. I think the last time I was on, gotta talk about it. I was feeling pretty mad about Dead by Daylight. And oh boy, they've been doing some things.
They finally
while.
brought. Oh yeah, it's been a minute. They brought along like very long discussed feature of cross progression. Finally, after I think they talked about it like 3 or 4 years ago, back when the Stadia was still around. And so that was a pretty big W for them. They got a lot of support. But the bigger thing that's really blown up and has been really popular is they finally released a different type of game mode, which is 2v8. And it's been something that fans have made before. And they finally took a crack at doing something that wasn't just like slightly different. And it was really, really popular. They actually almost hit a new highest concurrent player count on Steam for the first time in like 3 or 4 years. So it was pretty well received. And they really dumbed it down and made it a lot more simple. They only like had 4 killers, and for the humans, you can only pick certain classes. I still, it's like, for all the good they do, there's always bad. And they finally announced a really cool crossover with Castlevania to bring, as he's titled, The Dark Lord, but just Dracula and a Belmont. And that was really cool. There's a lot of hype about that. But they then released him to the public test beta, and I think he's been received okay, but I think a big problem that long-term fans have is he's basically just like, he's like 3 different killers, but only parts of them in a lot simpler. And so it kind of felt like just a very rehashed character mechanic-wise, which sucks, because he's, 1, smoking hot. He's a person who doesn't normally go there. Like, yeah, I was like, damn, look at that handsome fella. And 2, he's really cool. But then, like, yeah, and then I saw how he played and, like, how he worked. And I was like, it just felt a little stale, which is kind of my biggest problem with that series. And I think why 2v8 was so popular is because a lot of people, especially long-term fans, which is often who is actively playing that game, it's just like, we just crave anything fresh. And there's been small improvements like UI stuff and, like, adding more cosmetics like banners and, like, little emblems, which are cool. But it just feels all very delayed and slow. And so I don't know. Obviously, sadly, no other game has really come into the scope of that genre and stuck around very long, which makes me still sad, because every time there's something, I got excited about the Dragon Ball Dead by Daylight clone that came out a few years ago, and it wasn't very great, which I wasn't surprised about, but I was just excited, not because I love Dragon Ball, but I was like, cool, it's something different to maybe shake the market up a little, and it just never does. So Dead by Daylight's just still kind of on its bullshit, honestly, but I also can't stop playing it, and so I don't know who's really the more laughable clown in this room at this rate. Because boy howdy, when they announced crossplay, I was like, oh, finally I can merge my 2 accounts that I've been playing on 2 different things. So now it's worth it.
If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. And I know you are a big fan of Dead by Daylight. I know Rich is too.
I'm also angry at it. That'd be like, Mike, if you just played Dead by Day or played Dead Rising all the time. It doesn't make any sense.
The only thing I didn't necessarily like about the 2v8, and I played a few 2v8 matches, is that they only limit you could play as any of the survivors, but only 5 different killers.
Yeah, it's because the survivors all essentially play the same. It's just their perks are different. And so that's why I think, I don't know, I was surprised when it first announced it, and I got it, but then and I kind of accepted it pretty quickly. I was like, okay, sure, if you had every killer, mechanic-wise, it would get pretty bananas really fast. Especially, I think this was a mode to really attract some new players, because it was also around the time that there was a sale for it.
True.
But then they like nerfed some of the killers in ways that I didn't really get. Like the first 5 killers or 4 killers, whatever it was, are not the most like technical or advanced or honestly like popular killers, but they just still kind of like tweak them in ways of making them worse that I didn't really get. Like there's the first chainsaw character who's not the non-IP character Bubba, but there's another one just called Hillbilly, and he basically sprints across the map using a chainsaw, and if he hits you with it, you're instantly down. But he's really loud. And yeah, they just made it so the chainsaw doesn't instantly down you, it just one hits you. And there was a lot of, I don't know. And he was like probably one of the weakest of the killers in that game mode. And so it felt like, I think a lot of response was like, yeah, this didn't really feel necessary. It feels like you just butchered him for like beyond more than he needed. So yeah, I have a lot of opinions about that game all the time.
It also gave the killers the chance to basically work in tandem with someone. I mean, I see some people occasionally jump through things, and I see people who play Dead by Daylight on Twitch. They complain that sometimes they complain about Swifts.
Yeah.
Survive with friends. And that's, the fair point. They can communicate outside, where it's just one killer. Now the killers also had the option of, hey, I'm going to play as killer. You want to join me for a couple matches in this 2v8? Okay. And you can tell when the play style differs.
Oh yeah, no, it's really easy to
they're
tell. You'll just get cut
coordinating what
off.
they're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, it was that the killers were so popular. Dead by Daylight has this feature which I do appreciate. They added a few years back where if there's a lot more people playing Survivor, they'll add a bonus for like currency multiplier to play killer, and they balance it out. For this entire game mode, it was always at 300% extra, basically currency if you played Survivor. That's how popular killer was. And then eventually they had to, like, when the event was supposed to end, they decided to extend it and double the length of time. And they also announced, like, hey, we're also going to cut this only down to 150, and we're going to do a regular percentage boost in the regular game mode just to see if it changes how people are playing at all. And I don't think it did. It seems like it's still staying at, like, maximum capacity Survivor. And I think it's because, yeah, it's just so interesting and different for the killers to be able to do something differently, even if they're, brought down by having to use specific killers. It's just so much more fun, especially if you and a friend are killer mains a lot. You can just go, hey, let's just do this. And it's so wild. Like, me and my friend who played a lot of killer, we had like one match that felt really sweaty in a really fun way that was really challenging. But a lot of times it felt pretty one-sided, like on both sides when I was playing. Like sometimes I'd play killer by myself and we would just crush them, and other times we'd play Survivor and I would just get crushed and vice versa. So it was really interesting, and I think Dead by Daylight could really just be doing a few more things like that, and they'd be really just sailing, and they'd probably even be gaining new users rather than just staying at the stagnant sort of amount.
Oh, and I do have a random thing that you'll appreciate, Milk, that came up when someone had got me on a conversation about ROMs and about since the Xbox Live Arcade and all that is shut down completely. I went and found a ROM of Case West and Case Zero, and I was like, now at least I have these.
Case West you can actually play on Game Pass, weirdly enough. That one you can still access. Case Zero, I think you can't. I think Case Zero is now Case Zero is the one there. Yeah, Case Zero is still the one that's now like impossible to come by besides doing ROMs. And even then, what sucks is Case Zero had a cool, because it was basically a preview to Dead Rising 2.
I liked it when I played it once, back in the day. When it came out, I remember I bought it for $5 and played it.
It was, so also actually now that I'm looking at it, it is still listed on the shop. So I think if you have an Xbox One, you can play it.
Okay, that's good.
I don't know if you could still do it on the Xbox Series S or X. You might be able to, but definitely I think the one, because the one
that's good. I thought it was
a bit cross or
gone forever, and then I randomly, because every so often we were talking about ROMs, and I was like, and then it got me to. I went like, they're all here. Like, if anyone's interested or curious, the Xbox Live Arcade, majority of it's out there. So
yeah, I'm glad that we had enough time to prep that, because it was going to be rough, just like when any of the digital market shut down for these sort of generations. But I was looking on their Xbox Microsoft page. It is actually available on Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles,
okay, good.
So
I'm happy. I thought it was lost to the world, because I thought it was one of those things that was only Xbox Live, so I was like, oh no.
If we want to pivot real quick, just talk about one other one. I have still been playing Dead Rising, and that's just my segue to go, Mike, have you seen the new game? Have you seen it?
I've seen a little bit.
Oh my, it looks so good. You're gonna love it. You can move and shoot. You can hold barrels, and you won't just fall to the ground. The barrel will take damage for you, Mike. The Survivor AI is gonna be better. It's gonna be Chef's Kiss. I think it's your time. I think this will be the final thing that really gets you.
Did they get rid of the time limit?
Mike, I think this is gonna be the game.
Because that's my issue. So,
Mike, I think it's also a new game. So, in 10 years, when it's finally time, I think you'll enjoy this game a lot more than
you're not wrong. It's so funny that's just how I am, though. Like, we were talking about Silent Hill 2 coming out here soon when I was recording an episode about that, which is the remake is very soon. And I'm just like, maybe I'll get to that next year, because I just played Alan Wake 2, and it was just weird playing a new game. Like, I'm so used to retro stuff like PS2 and 360. I'm like, my God, games have gotten good.
Yeah,
I just play everything old.
The one I was playing specifically was Chop Till You Drop It. Boy, howdy, I'll tell you, if you want to talk about old, that game feels years older than actual Dead Rising, and it's different. Still different. Just wild.
And, Richard, what is something you've been playing?
Well, I don't. We already went through the stuff I was playing.
Oh, you don't have anything else? Okay.
I think
Well, you-
running
I-
with me.
Is there anything else? you
Not
play?
just not for the show, unfortunately. Everything that I play is for the show. I will say right now, like what I'm up to is I'm trying to get through a bunch of big games that I unfortunately have all coming up, not in a row, but close enough that it's going to be fun. I'm trying to finish Xenogears, then I got to start Bloodborne. I also got to start Persona 4 and beat both of those in the next few months.
I need to finish Persona 4.
Bloodborne I already beat once before. I beat both of those once before, so if I don't make it, I'm not that upset, but I'm going to do my best to beat
Yeah,
them.
well, we also going to have to start earlier on, I think, Black Flag.
Oh, fuck, yeah, that's November.
Oh.
Well, I'll be done with Persona 4 and those and that, so then I can jump into Assassin's Creed 4 in November, so I'll be okay.
You know, my friend who loves pirate games, he still doesn't think there's a better pirate game than Black Flag. So that's worth something.
I mean, Skull and Bones came out, but then it also, I just saw it for $10 on Best Buy, and I was like, nah, I'm good, because I just don't care about...
Yeah, no, that statement is still true to this day, even with that game. Yep.
Yeah, no, that game is... It came out because they legally didn't have a choice.
I can't wait for one day when, a year to 5 from now when somebody makes the YouTube documentary of the development of Skull and Bones, and we get a lot more of the full picture.
Matthew Muscles, he's working on it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be nothing to match it if Beyond Good and Evil 2 ever comes out.
It's supposedly coming.
You know,
I know.
I feel like we've had so many games that were in that phrase for so long, and I think that's one of the last ones I can really think of that we can still just kind of keep saying it and sitting around.
I mean, I don't get it. It's like, just let it die. Like, if you're not making it, just say, hey, we scrapped it a while ago. Like, we're sorry. We just didn't work out. You know, sucks, yes, but it happens. Don't just be like, it's coming. It's gone. Like, God, I was working at Target when you had an advertisement for Beyond Good and Evil 2. That was in 2009.
I totally forgot that they released a remaster of Beyond Good and Evil 1 in 2024.
Just came out, and it wasn't... I don't think it was hugely marketed.
No, I didn't even hear it until just now. I'm not big on that series, but I feel like I at least would have heard of that, considering,
You say series, but I don't think you can be a series when you only have one game.
One and a remaster now. That's 1.5.
One game, sir. One game.
It's one game. I mean, let's face it. We could probably take that one scene from Tremors 2 where they're running away from the imminent explosion. It's gonna be big, and the character just before it happens, is it gonna be today? Kaboom!
And Kyle, what is something you've been playing?
Well, to continue off from earlier, which, by the way, shout out to Richard for referencing Tremors 2. That movie is fantastic, and it's one of the best sequels of all time, and is extremely underrated. Just a quick little shout out there. What else have I been playing? I have been playing. I don't know if I've talked about this on the show previously, but I'm actually a really, really huge fan of the Earth Defense Force games. And I've been playing through more and more of Earth Defense Force 5 because, I don't know if people noticed this, but Earth Defense Force 6 came out recently, and it's out on Steam and Epic. So I've been playing 5 and hoping to get to 6 very soon. Yeah, I've been playing through 5, and it's fantastic. I've been working my way through 5. 5 is really good. It has a lot of great quality of life improvements to the series, and it's just a lot of fun running around and shooting giant bugs and giant frogs and everything. So that's been great. I've been playing through Earth Defense Force 5. And actually, speaking of frogs, just for one of the other shows created by our fabulous podcast host, Mike, I was actually on the episode, Games My Mom Found, to talk about For Whom the Frog Bell Tolls for the Game Boy, that Japanese-only released game. Yeah,
already.
Yeah, released Japanese-only release game made by the exact developers of Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. And yeah, I was also playing that as well for the episode, and that was such a cute and charming little game. Really well developed. Nintendo on their A game, just shooting from all cylinders. Really, really great game. Really well developed. Very cute and charming. What else have I been playing? Let's see here. Oh yeah, I've also been playing a few games on the TurboGrafx CD system. So the games that I've been playing I have been playing Gate of Thunder, which is a shmup developed by, I believe, by Red Development Studio in Japan. Gate of Thunder is excellent, one of the very best of the system, and one of the best shmups probably ever created. Just a damn great game and a fantastic soundtrack, really good hard rock soundtrack. I'm also very fond of its sequel, which I've played a bit more of than Gate of Thunder. Lords of Thunder as well, which is another fantastic shmup. Another just fantastic soundtrack. That one's a bit more heavy metal. Really awesome guitar shredding in that soundtrack. Just fucking... I imagine a bunch of Japanese dudes in a little recording booth just fucking shredding on guitars and just wailing away and just rocking out. But yeah, Gate of Thunder is fantastic. Such a great little shmup. I'd say a pretty good beginner shmup, too. It's pretty simple. It doesn't do any, like, intense bullet hell-y stuff. It's a really good and rock-solid shmup for the TurboGrafx CD system or the PC Engine CD system. Luckily, for those who don't have, like, the original hardware or may not have any of those analog systems for the PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16, this console is extremely easy to emulate. It's available on many different types of emulators, including RetroArch and Misen, which is a very big favorite of mine. Misen, I've been using it for a lot of different consoles, and it's been a damn good emulator. It really takes a licking, and it keeps on ticking. But yeah, Gate of Thunder has been excellent. What else have I been playing? Actually, kind of at the spur of the moment, about a week ago, I just started playing Castlevania 3 for the NES. I don't know why. I was suddenly like, I could really go for Castlevania 3. I played the Japanese version because I want that awesome soundtrack done in that Famicom extra sound chip that Konami made. VRC6, I believe it is. It's either the 6 or the 7. My apologies. I don't have Wikipedia open on my browser tab at the current moment. Someone will have to look it up after the show or whatever. Anyways, Castlevania 3 is excellent. It's so goddamn hard. Like, it'll really give you a challenge. But still a fantastic game. Fantastic soundtrack, great graphics, especially for the time of the NES and the Famicom. Just rock solid, damn good game. To kind of wrap up my things that I've been playing over the past few months, especially leading into August for my appearance on the show. So, I have a confession to make as a lifelong gaming person, or a gamer, or whatever.
Gamer.
I have actually never, ever completed the NES Ninja Gaiden trilogy. I've played them, and I am horrible at them. Holy shit, I am terrible at those games. They're so hard, and I am just awful at them. I actually took it upon myself to try to actually beat them. And I actually did. I completed all 3 games with cheats. So, sorry, folks. I did it. I beat
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, yes. I did the dirty deed. I'm happy I completed them. Hopefully, maybe one day I'll try to beat them again without cheats. But I did, and fuck it. I feel good. I feel accomplished. I loved the storyline within all 3 games, especially the ending of the 3rd game. It was poignant. The ending of the 3rd game was kind of poignant and just like, oh, that's kind of a shame that, like, it kind of has such a sour note on humanity, which is impressive for its time of such a mature form of storytelling. I think it also ends kind of on a nice note, especially with Ryu and Irene being together, as always, and that was really sweet. But yeah, I have completed all 3 of the Ninja Gaiden NES games, and it felt great to finally cross those off my list.
Nice. Hey, there's nothing wrong with playing with however you want to play. Like, you know me, I'm like, hey, cheat, save, just enjoy the game, and that's all that matters. I mean,
I very, very much agree. Thank you. Yes, I very much agree with this.
I mean, in the words of our great streamer Ninja, I don't think he's even still around anymore. I mean, you're cheating yourself, but fuck him.
I think that was Mike Matei that said that famous.
Oh, Ninja said it too at one point, or he repeated it. It's like, if you cheat at a game, you're only cheating. Here's a whole, you're cheating yourself or something. At least he was attached to the quote when I saw it at one time. And whether he said it or not, the little bit of content I've seen from him, which is very little, I completely can believe he did. So
yeah.
He's obviously never played the original Descent.
I don't know what that is.
It is, I'm playing through it on the channel. I had to activate cheat codes. It was the first flying first-person shooter.
Oh, okay.
You basically go up cleaning out the mines and that, so all over the solar system because robots in them have gone apeshit.
Okay.
And for some reason, as you are heading farther out into the outer system, the secret levels that you can access, only 3 secret levels, 2 of them you access when you're working through the Uranus system.
Oh, it's 95 DOS.
Yeah. And
Okay,
then
okay.
another one's after you clear out the Neptune system. And both of these times, you are shuttling back to the asteroid belt because that makes complete and utter sense.
I have a really weird fear for DOS games sometimes. Like, stuff like this would have scared me as a kid. I'm looking at screenshots. Not the difficulty, just there was something so haunting to me of, like, space games on DOS and, like, early PC.
Well, let's put it this way. I had this on my PC, the CD-ROM, back in the day. I may still have the CD-ROM floating around here. But I was playing it on the easy setting, and I was getting my ass kicked. That 7th ball, that's the end of the, what is, quote, the initially freeware part of the game. I'm like, how do you play this without cheating?
You don't?
No, I put in a code, and of course it has an anime reference to it. You put in the code Racer X, and you have invulnerability.
Oh, Speed Racer.
Yeah,
Oh,
he gets that one there.
Okay.
But I've also managed to think, mentioning all the other games, I do happen to manage that within the past month or so, I have perfected 2 more games on my Steam list, gotten all the achievements.
Nice job. What games?
Sherlock Holmes The Awakened, which I was playing through for the channel, and I am so glad I played through that because even at the end of that, my God, I think what they did with that one was they referenced the prior timeline of games. Because the main villain in that is saying to Sherlock Holmes that this has all happened before, which was
I'm glad you enjoyed those games.
Hmm?
I'm glad you enjoyed those games.
Oh yeah, you have to give this one a try. I know it. I think it's on your list.
I mean,
This
I
remake
could actually own it. You never know. So.
Yeah, this remake is beautiful. It has like 28 achievements, and yeah, I got them all. Yeah, I was using a walkthrough too for it, and I also got all the achievements on Clue, the classic mystery game. There was one that I hadn't got, and I got it like this past month, where you have to roll the dice 2,000 times. What can I say? I love the game. Especially when you can pick different boards to play on. Sometimes I pick the Sherlock Holmes board. Play one of those characters. They have aside from some of the typical Clue characters, they have Sherlock, Moriarty, Watson, Irene Adler. I know those names probably mean nothing to some people out there.
I recently I've been on a Mario Party kick, and I was thinking about how many of the games I've been wanting to sort of touch and go through, and I was thinking about the most recent one, Superstars, and I was like, maybe I should get all the little, in-game achievements for that. And then I looked through, and I saw there's 2 online achievements for getting 1,000 kudos and 5,000 kudos, and the only way you can get a kudo is to finish a game of Mario Party with another person online, and then they can give you, I think, a handful at most. And so you would have to play many, many games of Mario Party online. And I think I tried and I didn't find a single server, and I got really sad. And I was like, I guess I just won't do those. I'll do the other ones, but I am happy to hear a game like Clue. You could just, get all the achievements, have a nice little time, log away. So,
yeah, well, 2 of the Clue achievements is to start a party game with friends and win a party game with friends.
Yeah, see, that's a nice, reasonable expectation to have, but yeah.
I only managed that because one of the other Discord servers I'm on, they were doing like a game night every once in a while, and Clue was the game night game.
I know it's been a thing for a long time, but I wonder how much more prominent I wonder if it's become more prominent, stayed about the same, or it will become less prominent in time of having achievements that are online only as we keep moving away from physical media being just viable at all.
It's hard to say. Playing games online, board games online, gives those people who are usually not very sociable or didn't have many friends the chance to play board games online. And that gives them a chance to experience the game night fun, unless they did it with their family. And of course, that sometimes gets outgrown.
Yeah, it's just when you have the achievements, and then they're just locked forever. And it's just sort of that in finality, sometimes it gets a little scary to think about with something as silly as achievements. But some people it's very, very important. It's their whole thing.
But it's just something fun to do as well sometimes.
It's true. Also, Mario Party 4 sucks. Don't play Mario Party 4. That's the one I've been playing. I hate it so much. Don't play Mario Party 4. God, it's so bad.
Well,
I have not really touched the Mario Party game since my wife passed away.
Well, don't. If you ever feel like revisiting, don't do 4. Do anyone but 4. 4 has the weirdest mechanics and the just awful maps. And
I'm not a fan of that series in general.
Actually, 4 was the first ones we played together.
4 was one of the first ones I owned and remembered having very clear memories of as a kid, and it's so vastly wild how much that series improved since 4. And I think honestly was worse since 1 through 3. 4 they just really tried a lot of different things, and I don't think it worked in too many ways. And I'm really excited for 5 because I feel like I remember liking 5 a lot more. But yeah, 4 is wild. I've been playing that. That's all I'll say about it. Don't play 4.
Okay. All right. Should we go on to movies and TV?
Could I just announce something really quick?
Sure, please.
I don't mean to date this podcast, even though, we're talking about, August.
I don't feel bad. This is a dated podcast in general. So
Yeah.
August of 2024. But as of August the 12th, on Monday evening, I have an announcement for all y'all, just some really awesome game news. So, as the resident Ganbare Goemon fan of the group and of the show, I found out something very amazing, and I am so excited. I can't believe this is really happening. On September 3rd, I believe it'll be coming out in North America and Australia and a good portion of the English-speaking continents of the world. The Japanese game Memata Bakeru, which is the Goemon-like successor developed and published by Goodfeel, which is a game developer that's literally run by ex-Konami staff who all worked on the Goemon games. In fact, the CEO of Goodfeel is none other than Etsunobu Ebisu, who is the inspiration for Ibisumaru. So here's some awesome news. Memata Bakeru for the Nintendo Switch, which is available on Switch, which came out, I believe, in November of last year in 2023. It will now finally be getting an English localization and will be available starting on September the 3rd. It should be available in Australia and North America and Europe. I believe they're going to talk a bit more about it as it's getting closer to the date. But yes, on September the 3rd, Memata Bakeru, the Ganbare Goemon successor for the Nintendo Switch, will be released in English-speaking continents of the world on September the 3rd. I just wanted to announce that. I'm so excited.
Cool.
I'm fucking jazzed. Hell yes. Thank you.
It's always good to have games that didn't get re-released or get released here.
Yeah, I know, finally. I'm so excited for this. Sorry, I just wanted to drop that announcement live on the podcast.
I wait to see
Appreciate it.
Parodius get released over here then.
Don't know what that is.
Parodius is a shoot 'em up, but
I do know what it is.
it's cute. It's developed by Konami. There's a ton of games in the series.
Well,
I had the
Konami.
Game Boy one when I was. I had the Game Boy one for the longest time. I got it when I was over in England. Still, I think holds the record of most expensive game I bought.
Yeah, because I believe that did get an English release in Europe for the Game Boy. Yes.
Yeah.
And for the NES as well in Europe.
And of course, I was so thankful that the Game Boy cartridge worked in America.
Oh yeah, Game Boy games are region free. Funny enough.
Well, we didn't know that back in 1992. I don't think.
Yeah.
No, 1993.
Mm.
I went to England in 1993.
Nice.
Mm.
All right, we'll go on to movies and TV. I'm going to start off with 2 TV shows I've been watching, which is the only 2 I'm going to mention. So I've been watching Young Sheldon. I watched 1 through 4 seasons in a month, and I gotta say that show is actually really cute, and I really like it.
Yeah, I know for the longest time the internet has really given a lot of shit towards Big Bang Theory, and
It deserves it for the first season.
No, to a certain degree, I actually kind of agree with a lot of the shit we've given. The internet has given Big Bang Theory to a certain degree, but honestly, Young Sheldon, it's a pretty decent little show. It's a nice little funny, little sitcom. It's actually pretty decent.
It doesn't make, yes, he's a special kid, and they do go on to it, but, the problem with Big Bang Theory is they make a lot of, really dumb jokes in the first couple seasons and get... It gets better once you get to, 4 and on. Once they introduce, God, what the hell? I can't remember all their names now. Amy and Bernadette. It gets much better, but Young Sheldon's just really cute show. I'm really enjoying it. Like, I will I won't have it finished next month because season 7 is not on Netflix, unfortunately, because the show just wrapped up this year. So I'll be watching the rest of what's there though. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Like, just really well done show.
Nice.
And I watch a lot of documentaries. I don't normally mention them on here just because, but I watched one that I thought was really interesting. And Bill Tucker, if you listen to this, I forgot to tell you to watch this documentary. It's called The Deepest Breath. It's about free diving.
Ooh.
Which is as terror. If you like the idea, what it is people will no oxygen, nothing. They just hold their breath and swim down. And like the world record for women unassisted, like so no weight, you just swim down with flippers is like I think 110 meters. So you're swimming down and swimming back. And one of the things that happen to a lot of people in this sport is you black out while you're in the water coming back up because you hold your breath too long. And that's a normal thing in the competition. I mean, you're disqualified for that round. You get 6 rounds, but like it's a normal thing that happens. And I'm just like, fuck no. But it's very, very, very good documentary. They really talk a lot about it, and it was well done, but fucking terrifying. The idea of that, but very cool. So yeah, people can hold their breath for a long time, by the way, and swim. So no, thank you. Yeah, definitely go check it out. It's currently on Netflix. Called The Deepest Breath.
I'll take your word for that.
Is that in a cave exploration? So I forget what the specific type is for. It's very small, tiny areas that you crawl through. And I'm good. I don't think I would. I think I would rather die as a choice because I'm just like I
could do the caves. I could not do swimming underwater. Like one of the things that this woman set the record for that they talk about in his documentary is she swam. I forget how much, like 50 meters. There's a reef and you go under an arch. You hold your breath, swim down 50, I think like 40 meters, swim through this thing for 50 meters and got to come up. And she did it. But it's just like, man, some of the stuff that they talk about. And I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, this is terrible.
In the caves, they'll just be like, yeah, you just kind of have to like bend your arm back and suck your stomach in really hard. And then you can squeeze through it. It's like, why? It's like, I don't know, you can go to the other side. You can go see what's over there. People don't go over there very often, so it's neat. And I'm like, I'm all right. I'll send a little robot and I'll take a look and go, neat. That's some cool rocks.
Talk about a different episode, which might or not be out at the time you hear this, but like I went in sewers before when I was a kid, when I was a kid, like a teenager, a dumbass. I went through storm sewers in Milwaukee. Don't recommend that, by the way. But like, yeah, being in small spaces you've got some issues. So a little terrifying. But yeah, that's what I'm watching for TV, and I got a couple movies, and I'll save those. Milk, anything you've been watching you want to mention?
Yeah, I was kind of focused TV first then. Like I said, I've been watching Loki.
Good.
Prep for Deadpool 2. And because I've wanted to for a while.
I fell off Marvel movies around Ant-Man, so it's been a hot minute. But I heard a lot of
the original Ant-Man.
Yes.
Wow.
That was like
you're missing good movies then.
Yeah, I've watched everything up to Ant-Man, and then I've watched a few things here and there, but it's pretty rare. Like I watched whatever it is, the third Doctor Strange. The small one, where they all get real tiny. Honey, I Shrunk the Doctor. No, wait.
That's Ant-Man.
No, that's Ant-Man. That's the third Ant-Man. Anyway.
You can skip that movie.
I like that one. That one's fun. It's really self-contained. Okay. Real good
I hated
time.
it. I don't think we're talking about the same movie.
One where he gets really small, like the micro universe.
He goes in Quantumania where he fights King?
Quantumania, yeah, I love that movie. It was a good one.
It was awful, but okay, I'm glad you liked it.
It was so, yeah, it was a good thing. But Loki's great. It's been fun to just kind of, I felt very, I don't know if I want to say cheated. I felt a little frustrated that they were like, we're going to take the Loki without all the baggage before I think there's a few more mixed opinions and we're going to get like Loki everyone liked and he's going to be the Loki. I was like, all right, you sneaky little sneaks you. But it's been really cool. I'm almost at the end of the first season and it's been really interesting. I binged it over like 3 days and it's been cool to actually kind of see. It's starting to get a little wearing because the first season just feels a lot of like, wait, they're not in charge. They're in charge. Wait, they're not in charge. What's going on? And I'm like, okay, I get it. After like the third one, I was like, I don't need this anymore. Can I just get, like, it's fun. And everything else about the show I love, but that main overall concept for like, what's the main arc of the season? It's like, this is only carrying it so far. I need something else besides all the other things I love. Like, fucking, what's his name? The other protagonist who's not Loki, the other masked protagonist, the actor who plays him. Owen Wilson, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Owen Wilson's great. I loved Owen Wilson in that. And I don't normally dislike Owen Wilson in things, but I don't remember him in things often, so that was nice to be like, wow, I really like this dude. He's really killing it in this little show. So That's been, I think, one of the main ones. There's another anime I watched called Windbreaker, which is about high school boys fighting in gangs to defend a town, and that's very wholesome and heartwarming and cute.
Do you have any other anime, or that was the only one?
I think that was the main one. There's also one I watched called Vampire Dormitories, but that's a guilty pleasure. That's basically like if Twilight and an anime had a baby, and so we don't need to get into that. And I watched the whole thing because it was so bad, and I was like, it can't keep being like Twilight, right? And then it did, and I was like, wow, this is a lot. Yeah, that was a lot. Don't watch Vampire Dormitories. Go watch Windbreaker. It's a good time. Good fight scenes.
Okay. Any other shows to mention?
Nope, that's all my shows over here.
Okay. We'll say movies then for the end, or the next probably go around. And Richard.
Well, I've actually been indulging in some shows. I mean, I actually took some time to watch season 4 of Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in years. It was a nice thing to, get that little buzz from the do-do-do-do-do, the theme song.
Yeah.
And it was actually very interesting because I heard about some that were right in my neck of the woods. I mean, I shouldn't say directly in my neck of the woods. So there was one set in Trenton State University about, talking about a murder that happened in the, I think in the 70s that they're still trying to, find out what happened. And also there was a story about a head that was discovered up in western Pennsylvania. That was actually an interesting little story. The key suspect they suspect in that one actually passed away, and they had given him a lie detector test, and it showed he was being deceptive when he said he had nothing to do with it. Also, it was interesting to hear that there have been more Mothman sightings.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I was looking at this, and I was funny because I was looking at that particular season, and it was the least popular episode according to IMDb. Like, it was like a 4-star, while there was like 7. And boy howdy, the image they use for Mothman is spoopy in the worst way. It's really like creepy, but it's because it's like a PS2 cinematic, and I'm like, I don't need that.
Well, I think what was also nice about that one is that they actually referenced they also showed footage in that from the Mothman story done in 2002 on Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, maybe that's what this image is from.
No, that one isn't from the 2000.
Oh, no! It's not great that I wasn't convinced one way or the other which year that was from.
That looks like something from 360 era.
It was one of those, it was nice to hear Robert Stack again. I mean, he's been gone for how many years now? I'm still surprised at how old he was when he was doing that show. But, it's a bit of nostalgia for me because to watch some of those episodes. And I've been more or less indulging in checking out some British game shows, finding out what they have in game shows, and I'm thinking, God, these are some clever concepts. Why this is the kind of stuff that we could pull off here. I mean, there was one I watched, they called it Hardball, where they play it with a total of 6 people. 3 in the first heat, 3 in the second heat. The best of those 2 go into a head-to-head, and then compete to win all the accumulated money. And to accumulate money, you answer questions that are like, I think, 50 pounds apiece. But the whole time, you're racing your image on the track as this big steel ball rolls down the track. It's a slow roll, but if it passes you, you're done, which is a clever idea. I mean, you're trying to do better than everybody else, but at the same time, you're racing this ball. It was a clever idea. Also watched this one called Winning Combination. You have 9 contestants. They play off in heats where they have to decide which of the 5 are playing. And then when those 5 compete and the winner of that round, basically they sit at a big podium, and the number they have goes in the place they take, be it 1s, 10s, 100s, 1000s. So, idealistically, if you're smart enough and you have a 9, you want to go in the 1000th place, because then the group takes home that amount of money, whatever order you sit in. So, like, if 9 goes first, and then 1 comes over and he decides, I'm just going to sit here, which is kind of, nice for the final round. Once the 4 people are chosen, they are given a total of 30 seconds, which every correct answer adds 5 seconds to the clock. until it hits 30 seconds again. And they must, for each, whatever number they have to answer that many questions. And then it moves down up the line from ones to tens to hundreds to thousands, which means, you could give off a lot of good answers fast enough. That means somebody down the line can have a little breathing room. But if you don't do that, then they have to, So, like, if they're going for like $9,000, the person in the 1,000 spot must answer nine questions, which is going to be tricky.
And see, here in America, how can I put my product placement in there? I need Supermarket Sweep, where I can show
Several thousand products a season and just get paid to do that. I can't do that on a quiz show unless it's going to be how delicious is this brand of cereal, and the answer is fairy.
Well,
Then maybe we can get something here.
Remember, over in England, most of the shows don't have commercials because they do that all after the show.
That makes it just sound like they really have to come up with some ingenious ideas. Gosh, as an American, I can't stand such things. I need more of the product placement, less of the thinking, less of the cool set design of the ball rolling down, which I looked up, and it does look very cool. I don't need that. I need you to tell me why I should buy Nestle Toll's new cereal, and why I shouldn't think about the upcoming Water Wars.
Glad I don't watch regular TV, really. I'm really happy about that.
Well, that's why I don't have the cable anymore.
I mean, I'm close to it with the amount of streaming services I pay for, but joke's on me, I guess. So. And Kyle, what are some TV shows you've been watching?
Let's see here. I haven't been watching too much of any TV at the moment. I actually just finished off the most recent season of Cobra Kai, and I loved it. I'm a big fan of Cobra Kai. This most recent season ended off on quite a cliffhanger, and I'm excited to see what the next half of season 6 is going to do. I believe that's coming out in November. But yeah, Cobra Kai is always good, and I was really impressed with this current season. What else? I've actually been watching a lot more movies than TV shows. Would you mind if I talked about some of the movies?
Sure, feel free. That's the next thing we're going to jump into. So yeah, we can jump in with you.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, TV show stuff, that's kind of been about it. I've been also watching and continuing my watch through of Batman, the animated series, and it's fantastic as well. But yeah, for movies, I actually saw a few movies in theaters over the past month and a half, and I've seen a few movies at home. So to start things off, in about, I think, late June, early July, I watched for its 30th anniversary, because it came out in summer of 1994. I watched the Fatal Fury, the animated movie, the anime movie, and it's fantastic. I was really shocked at how good it is. Man, it's funny. It's weird too, but like for all of these shitty live action adaptations of video games, it's weird how much the Street Fighter anime movie and the Fatal Fury anime movie both get right, and how good they are and how fun they are to watch. Like, they nail so many things perfectly from the video games. And I know the director of the Fatal Fury movie, Masami Obari, he has a bit of a fan base with a lot of people who love mecha anime and stuff like that. I'm not too familiar with Masami Obari's work. I'm not much of a mecha person, but I've seen some of his tropes and his designs and stuff. And I think he did a bang-up job directing the Fatal Fury movie. Lots of good action sequences. A lot of the characters do their moves from the video games, and I thought that was really nice. But yeah, the Fatal Fury movie is still fantastic 30 years later, and it's a damn good adaptation, and just a really good anime, too. The animation looks really great. So I watched that. Let's see. Oh yeah, also speaking for its 30th anniversary, I also watched the Street Fighter, the animated anime movie, for its 30th anniversary. And yeah, that movie's also fantastic. Probably the best adaptation of Street Fighter to ever existed. Like, yeah, the live action movie's fun and cheesy, but like that anime movie gets so much right with the adaptation, and it's so good. The English dub is really solid. The Japanese original is also great. Great soundtrack. Whether you're listening to the dub version or the Japanese version, the soundtrack is great. A lot of really good moments. But yeah, another good movie. Moving on. I had watched a fairly recent new horror movie. I believe it played in theaters in May, and now it's on video on demand and home video. It is a Canadian-made horror movie that's kind of taken horror by storm, called In a Violent Nature. I saw that recently, and I absolutely loved the movie. That's probably one of the best new horror movies I've seen ever. I loved it. I would honestly say it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm quite a bit of a fan of slashers, and I feel like what this movie did was actually ingenious. I was really impressed by it. Great kills, great gore, really impressive cinematography, and just really beautiful cinematography as well. It's like if Terrence Malick did a horror movie slasher in the best of ways. I mean, I'm also a bit of a fan of Terrence Malick, but that's just me. But yeah, In a Violent Nature is excellent. One of the best movies of the year. One of the best horror movies I've seen in years. And I had a blast with it. I thought it was fantastic. Damn great movie, In a Violent Nature. And it's a Canadian-made horror movie, too. It was directed by a Canadian director and shot in Ontario, Canada. So it's a Canadian-made horror movie, so fuck yeah. Let's see here.
You'll like this news, then. It was announced last month, a sequel.
Okay, yeah, I'd be interested to see what they might do.
That's cool.
I'd be interested to see what they might do for a sequel. Moving right along, I saw the newest film by Osgood Perkins, who, I just love pointing this out because I just think it's amazing, is the son of fucking Anthony Perkins, the guy who played Norman Bates on the original Psycho. I saw the most recent film by Osgood Perkins, Longlegs. I saw that in theaters, and I was blown away. I thought it was a fantastic movie. One of my other favorite movies of the year. Really damn great horror thriller. Very just creepy in all the right ways. I was also going to see the movie anyways, even if, not knowing the director. I was already excited because I'm a big fan of Micah Monroe, who plays the lead character in the movie. I'm a big fan of her acting. I mean, I'm such a huge fanatic of It Follows. I thought that movie was a masterpiece as well. And yeah, I was like, Micah Monroe in a new horror movie? Fuck yeah, I'm there. And yeah, I thought Longlegs was excellent. I thought it was damn great and creepy, really effective. A lot of Longlegs actually reminded me of It Follows. A lot of creepy wide-angle lens shot. Really well-made thriller. And I'm interested in seeing what else Osgood Perkins will do as a director. I'm really interested. But yeah, I saw Longlegs. I thought it was a blast, and thought it was very creepy and well made. One of my favorite movies of the year. Moving on, I saw the new Twister movie, Twisters, and I thought that was also damn great. This sequel really understood what made the original movie so good and charming. It's the dialogue, the writing, and the characters. And the new characters for this movie are charming as hell, and you really understand what's everybody doing in the movie, what everybody's doing in the movie. And the new actors are all really good. Daisy Edgar Jones is charming. Glenn Powell as Tyler, I believe his last name is Wilson. Yeah, Tyler Owens, excuse me, as this viral tornado chaser. You really get to understand these characters, and it's very charming. The special effects of the storms look amazing. I believe the director of this movie is, give me a second, let me just believe the director is Lee Isaac Chung, who directed the Oscar-nominated Minari a few years ago, and that was really critically acclaimed. So, I gotta say, first, if you want to get someone to direct your Midwestern Twister movie, get someone who's, from the Midwest and made a movie about living in the Midwest. Damn good choice. Yeah, the Twisters and the special effects in the movie look fantastic, and the storms were actually really thrilling and scary, and I was impressed and very blown away by them. But yeah, Twisters was also really good. A lot of fun. It's not in my top 5 or anything, but it was still a damn good fun movie. Good summer movie too. And let's see here, to wrap things up, another movie that I've recently watched. Actually, 2 movies that I watched recently. A horror movie that came out in 2022. I watched it just on a complete whim, and I was actually really impressed by it. I watched a horror movie called Influencer. It's about this woman who runs a YouTube channel, and she's trying to be an influencer, and she's on a trip in Thailand, and she meets this mysterious woman, and I won't say anything more because it's really twist and turny. It was a really fun little mystery thriller, and I was really impressed by it. A lot of really good performances, and a lot of good twists and turns. A fun little movie, too. So yeah, Influencer. And to wrap things up completely, This one was a bit more of a fun little romp because I'm a very big fan of the lead actor. I'm a huge fan of her martial arts stuff. I'm a big fan of her action movies. So a couple of months ago, there is a new Blu-ray release for the Cynthia Rothrock starring movies China O'Brien 1 and 2. And I finally got to check out the Blu-rays for those. And the China O'Brien movies are fun as hell and cheesy. They're basically just Walking Tall, but it stars Cynthia Rothrock. And my God, they're such a blast. The fight scenes in the movies are so fun, and Cynthia Rothrock just beats the shit out of so many bad guys, and it's a blast. So yeah, I watched China O'Brien 1. In fact, earlier today I watched it, and I had a blast. It was so good. I love Cynthia Rothrock a whole bunch. I'm a big fan of hers, and I'm such a big nerd for her movies. And I'm happy to see that more and more of her movies are now out on Blu-ray and look spectacular. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching for TV and movies for this month.
Okay. And Richard.
Well, I don't have any really movies to add to the list.
Okay.
You know me, I don't get to see much in movies. I mean, even the movie theaters, you can't top an experience like going to see a movie and being the only two in to see the movie. You can't top that. I mean, it was just dumb luck that it happened.
Yeah, it usually is.
Matinee show, and it was for Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm like...
I remember my midnight showing of Diary of a Wimpy Kid 2. There was only 3 of us in that theater. I don't know why they had it, but I went and saw it, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
We had to beg a friend to give us a ride because we didn't have our license, but we were like, please, Cooper, take us to the movie so we could see this midnight showing. And about an hour into the movie, he looks back, some movie theater employee walks in, and we see him looking around, and then he finally sees us, and he just looks defeated and sits down and starts watching the movie. He only stayed like 10 minutes.
I didn't say midnight show, matinee show.
Oh, I know. That's just the only time I've ever had theater alone. It was chef's kiss.
I've had a couple times.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a rare experience but most cases if you want a whole theater to yourself, you're buying every seat.
Or just see a really shitty movie. Like, hey, go see Borderlands. That might be by itself. Right?
I actually would like to see that one.
I'm curious. I'll just watch it on streaming shortly.
I mean,
it'll be out in next month, the right there things are going.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, let's face it. I saw some of the ads. I'm laughing my butt off at seeing it. I mean, I know the games have an M rating, and apparently people are having a conniption that the movie's only getting a PG-13 rating.
It's because it's corporate sabotage. But it's corporate meddling and like, hey, how can we make the most money? And surprise, it didn't work out. So.
Yeah, well...
Might be a decent film. I mean, I don't know. I might see it at some point, but yeah.
Considering some of the scenes I've seen in the trailers, I want to laugh at it. I mean, they're driving through this thing, telling her to roll up the window. Oh, I'm going to enjoy the air. I don't want to roll up the window. You can't tell me what to do. And then and we find out it's the monster's piss.
I mean,
it's in my mouth.
I might see it. I don't know. I'll probably just wait till streaming. Because it's going to, I mean, joking aside, it's going to be on stream by the end of the year at this rate, easily. So
if they throw in a reference to Face McShooty, it'll be worth it.
All right, and Milk, what are some movies you've been watching?
Also sort of in prep for seeing Deadpool, which is the new one, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm hoping either to this weekend or next weekend. I watched the original 3 X-Men movie and the Wolverine Origins, and boy, those were an experience, because I don't think I've ever seen them. And yeah, I don't really know Wolverine Origins is a really good, dumb, fun action movie.
I like it personally.
Yeah, I think if you just to turn your brain off and just have fun at what's going on, the intro and the outro I think are the weakest because of that. That's where there's the most plot going on. But when you just have a dude in a helicopter chasing and trying to snipe a dude in a motorcycle through the trees, it's a good little romp. But the X-Men movies are a lot. And it's been like a week or two since I've seen it, but I still don't really know how I feel. Like, I like them in some ways, in other ways, it just felt like a lot of what are we doing? And it made me respect Logan a lot more, because I think Logan was a really, I actually saw that film in theaters, and I really appreciate it for what it was back then, but I think I appreciate it a lot more even now, and have those characters sort of come back and reprise a lot of those roles to just really get in the paint with some interesting themes and concepts. Sure, there's another one. I've also been watching the last season of Deep Space Nine, finally, because I watched all the seasons except the last one and then stopped.
Good show.
Yeah, I've only seen the first 6 or 7 episodes, but it's been fun. Yeah,
That last season's tough. Not
I had a lot
bad.
of coworkers
Just
who were talking about it, and I had a coworker who basically binged it so fast that another coworker watched like the highlight episodes of that season. So I've been trying to catch it up so I don't listen to them. But yeah, my coworker who's seen it before is just like, oh, yeah, I'm not saying it, but I forgot how many things happened in that season. I keep asking the other person, like, oh yeah, didn't that happen last season? Like, no, that's this season. Like,
a lot of bad shit.
Yeah, which I haven't gotten there yet. I've gotten to a baseball episode and a very Dr. Bashir episode, and I was like, wow. If that's the last Dr. Bashir episode I get, I'm going to be very disappointed and not surprised. And then also, the last episode, I think, was the alternate universe episode with the Ferengi. And I remember going, if this is the last alternate universe episode in this series, I will be a little pissed because it's just a Ferengi goof episode.
Can't remember. The alternate universe stuff continues in Voyager, right?
Yeah, that's always kind of a fun one to like play around with and see. It's interesting, but I couldn't believe. I was just like, oh, Ferengi? Okay, just a little Ferengi off. Sure, fuck it. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we do anything else?
Deep Space Nine.
It's wild to me how much.
I'm trying to think of that now. I remember a Ferengi episode in Deep Space Nine where they had to rescue Quark's mother.
Not that one.
That's earlier.
Yeah, that one's earlier. This one is the rescuing the Grand Nagus from the alternate dimension.
Yeah, because they go to the mirror. The mirror world has played a bunch in Deep Space Nine. I think there is another episode with it that wraps it up, depending on where you're at. But I really can't remember. It's been a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still great. Even the weakest episodes are still great. So I think Deep Space Nine is it's always a testament to how great that series in particular is in that universe.
They had a lot of good actors working on that show.
Yeah, a lot of actors.
Even guest actors who became sort of almost regular characters. I mean, Andrew Robinson. God, that movie probably helped him more than... That was the first time, it was like one of the few times that he actually got to be more into his character. And he could actually play a character of such intrigue.
Yeah. Oh, I love him. Yeah, the episode in that season that I watched was when he's the leader of a cult, the other Bajoran religious cult, Facto, and he's always so good when he's there. I wish there was honestly
great
more
actor.
A little bit.
There's only one episode he hated. He did not like.
Do you remember which one?
It was the one where they went to Empok Nor, and there was some sort of genetic testing of a virus or something on Cardassians that made them more bloodthirsty or more of a lethal, sort of more serial killer-ish. And he hated doing that episode.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Okay. I have two movies to mention that I did see in theaters, since I don't want to go in spoilers, but I did go see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters and really, really enjoyed that movie.
I'm really glad. I've heard most of the people I've heard say that. I've heard a small selection be like, not really care for it, but that's more uncommon. So
I had a great time, and it got me excited for MCU again, and it also got me excited to do more Marvel on this podcast again. So that was nice. As it happened, because I'm busy with Spooktober, but it got me excited to see what they do, and I'm really excited for Captain America next year and Thunderbolts. So we'll see. But it was not. It's a good movie. I highly recommend going to see it in theaters. I mean, especially if you haven't been spoiled and everything yet. Which, if you haven't, I'm impressed because it's all over the damn internet. But
yeah, it's been hard. I've seen like one thing pretty confidently that I knew what it was, but that's it. And that was just a cameo. So
I've read some things, and I'm surprised at who they picked for the villain.
Yeah, the only thing I know is I think Gambit makes an appearance and is played by an original actor who played Gambit at a different point. But that was like it. Beyond that, I've been able to pretty much keep my head in the sand, and it's been really hard. I'll say that. They keep trying.
It's all over the internet. I'm surprised you don't know more. And like even what you said wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I'm just surprised you don't know more. I'll just leave it at that.
Also, Dogpool, but that was in a trailer, so that's fine, and it's very easy to sort of get an idea of what that is. And I think Ryan Reynolds also posted about it, and it was a very good post.
Oh yeah, no, Dogpool is not really a spoiler. I mean,
just
the other thing you mentioned that I would consider a spoiler. I unfortunately got it spoiled going into it the day of because I was like, fucking A, internet. But the other movie I saw, which if you don't know anything about this movie, it's called Trap, and it just came out. I saw it in theaters. Don't watch a trailer. Go into it completely blind. It's a fun thriller, but do not watch a trailer.
Yeah. It's the new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah. Yes, and I think it's actually really. I really liked it, but it's a kind of It's a movie where I wish that I could edit out one scene. I'm not going to say why, but there's one scene I think if you cut out, it would make the movie 10 times better.
Yeah.
But it's a very enjoyable watch. Just don't watch the trailer, otherwise you'll already... I just skipped the trailer, so... I went into it blind.
I think I might try to check that out sometime soon. I'm a bit picky on M. Night Shyamalan, but when he swings and wins, he really wins. And
it doesn't feel like an M. Night Shyamalan movie. M. Night Shyamalan. It doesn't, like, his movies are known for certain things, but it isn't. It's just a fun thriller.
Yeah.
That keeps you on edge, but it isn't really violent. It isn't gory. Like, it's just
his movies never really are violent or gory because a lot of them are PG-13. Like, the only R-rated movie he's ever done is The Happening.
Never seen that.
I think it's a little misunderstood, but that's just me. But yeah, I'm a little picky on M. Night Shyamalan, but when he wins, he really wins, and the movie looks pretty solid. And plus, I do really like Josh Hartnett. I think he's a really underrated actor. I think a lot of people only saw him as this like teen heartthrob actor guy, but like he's done some really good shit. He's a really underrated actor. But yeah, I might check it out.
It's pretty good.
Just to go back to the Wolverine Deadpool movie, or Deadpool and Wolverine movie, the person who was playing Gambit was actually signed on to play Channing Tatum. He was when there was a Gambit movie in the works, he was signed to play the lead role. And then it was canceled in May of 2019. So he finally got to play the role.
Yeah, and that's cool. I'm kind of spent on Marvel superhero-y stuff, but I do quite love Channing Tatum. I think he's honestly, a really underrated actor. I think people only think he's like this type of an actor and he only does like certain types of roles. Guy has a really underrated emotional range, and he's done some damn good acting in a couple of good movies, especially stuff like Foxcatcher. Fucking fantastic movie.
Yeah, well, and I know he doesn't necessarily cover stuff being read. I actually was finally read a comic I purchased back in, I think, June.
Yeah, I also have a couple of books I read, but I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it was something we were out, I think, I had to think of take my daughter somewhere or something. Maybe I got in May. Yeah, we had gone up to see where she was going to go to prom, or go for the school prom. And we stopped by a comic book store up there. And as I was looking through, I see some things I was tempted, but I didn't think I'd buy everything. And then I see this little one shot for Marvel Bloodstorm event. Or is it Blood Hunt? Yeah, it was a store. It was one starring Jubilee, which really goes to show that she still, has, they're still referencing that part of her. And it was kind of a neat story because instead of just up and killing the vampire, she's trying to give them a choice. And it's sort of, she does find a victim who's turning, and she helps them become one of the group known as the Forgiven. They're vampires, but they won't feed on humans. They make that choice and protect humans. It's kind of a neat little story.
Looks interesting. I don't read a whole lot of comics, unfortunately, but it looks cool.
Yeah. I mean, not enough to get me into the full event, but...
No, I don't blame you one bit.
I actually had a side quest about that, similar subject to Fallout 3, and it was really neat. Because you find these vampires in a tunnel, and they're like, actually, there's just blood everywhere. Eventually, they're like, oh yeah, no, we don't need human blood. It's just animal blood, which is really hard to come by in this nuclear wasteland. But we're making it work, and I was like, oh, neat.
And Kyle, you said you had some comics you wanted to mention? And then we're
not so much comics, but some books.
Sure.
So, I don't think I talked about this the past month I was here. The last month I was here. For June, for Pride Month, I actually read 2 books. And I really loved both of them. So, for my June Pride Book Month, I read Page Boy by Elliot Page, as an actor. I'm a big fan of him. I respect the hell out of him for coming out and transitioning as a transgender man myself. Kudos. Really good book. It talks about his life and just kind of a lot of about him growing up as an actor, dealing with shitty people in Hollywood, and, coming out as transgender. And damn good book, Page Boy by Elliot Page. Damn good novel. Second book I read, also by a queer author. Second book I read was called Cack-Handed by an author who's also a stand-up comedian. She is a lesbian. She's a queer woman. She's damn good. I'm a big fan of hers. The author is Gina Yashere. She is a British comedian who I know now has moved over to America, and she's doing a lot of stuff in America now, in the States. And yeah, I really loved it. I'm such a big fan of hers, and I thought I thought she was interesting with what she talked about growing up as a young black woman in the 70s in England and coming from an immigrant family. Her mother and a lot of her family is from Nigeria, so she talks a lot about that, and I thought it was very interesting. And yeah, I thought it was funny too, but I think she talks about a lot about, the racism she experienced as a young black woman. I thought it was a damn good read, and I really liked what happened within the book. And I thought it actually had a really nice little ending. But yeah, Cack-Handed by Gina Yashere. I loved that book too. And then in July, I had already seen the movie Psycho, so I thought I had decided to read the original novel by Robert Bloch. And I wanted to see what the differences were between the book and the movie. Turns out not too much differences, aside from Norman Bates looking a lot different in the book than in the movie. But I thought it was a damn good read, though. Robert Bloch is a damn good author. He really knows how to structure sentences and keep things interesting. It was a very quick read, too. I was really impressed. Oh, yeah, there's also a few different deaths in the book as well. They're a lot gorier, and I was really shocked by that. But yeah, Psycho by Robert Bloch was a damn good read. And now I'm actually in the middle of my next novel. I'm at the very beginning of it. I'm reading because I've seen the movie adaptation of it, and I am a huge fan of it. I think it's a damn great movie and a very underrated piece of feminist work. I am reading the original novel version of American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, and I'm really enjoying it. It has a lot of the weird kind of mental psychosis, the movie adaptation of American Psycho, but with Bret Easton Ellis's writing, it's very visceral, and I'm really impressed with it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the movie adaptation of American Psycho. I think it's funny that movie has such a reputation with its film bro audience of white dudes who are stupid and who are fucking stupid and don't understand satire and understand that you guys are the bad guys and you're idiots and you idolize Patrick Bateman, but you don't understand that he's a fucking idiot and he's psychotic and you're an idiot if you idolize this person. But also, the movie adaptation of American Psycho was written and directed by women, and that's why I call it a piece of feminist
I need
art.
to see it one day.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a great podcast episode. It's a really weird movie. Like a lot of it is sort of up to the viewer to kind of look at and oh, so did this happen or not? Really good movie. But yeah, the movie was written and directed by women, and I think it's a great piece of feminist art. But yeah, I'm currently at the very beginning of, American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, and it's a damn good read. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, that's the stuff I've been reading over the past couple of months.
Okay. All right, I think we can wrap this up and go to plug. And Richard, where we will find you at?
YouTube channel, which is Rich Kale, where I play through various games and all that. I mean, you'll find stuff from LucasArts, Lucasfilm up there, franchises and that. Finally closed out the Sherlock Holmes series, which was very fun to play through all those. Again, I would recommend those, except for the very first game that Frogwares did. That one you can play. It's only play it only for the fact that it's out there. Otherwise, you can leave that one. They were trying. It was a new thing at the time, so but. Yeah, you can find me on there. You can find my writings up on various websites like fanfiction.net, Archive of Our Own, and Comic Vine.
Okay. And Milk.
I think mostly people can find me, honestly, still on Twitter, as I shall dead name it, as long
Twitter.
as stupid Musk dead names his children.
So the only thing I probably will ever dead name. But anyway, yeah, I will post there occasionally if I'm ever doing things. I don't stream super regularly, but if I'm ever, appearing on someone else's, or if I am doing a one-off, I do want to maybe spend a little more time with Dead Rising before the new one, because it's gonna be so great. But yeah, there or on Twitch at Spaceville Cutie. Those are the places most often you can sort of see if I'm around at all publicly on the internet.
Okay. And Kyle.
I just want to say before I do my plugs that, like Milk, I'm also very excited for that Dead Rising remaster. I want to see what Capcom does with it. How is it going to play and all that jazz. I'm very excited for it.
So interesting.
I know. What an odd surprise of an announcement. I'm just like, okay, all right, Capcom, I'll see what you're going to do. But yeah, to go to my plugs, you can find me on Blue Sky at chibiufo.bsky.social, where I post just all sorts of different things. You can find me on Instagram at chibiufo, where I post just random pictures of stuff in my life. And you can find my podcast, the Unidentified Flying Obsession Podcast, or the UFO Podcast, and where I talk about all sorts of different subjects with certain guests on certain episodes. And recently, I've actually gotten in the habit of doing episodes by myself on video game music, where I talk about my favorite types of video game music, and then I play the music. And yeah, it's a fun time. I'm really enjoying making those episodes as well. But yeah, you can find me on that podcast as well, the Unidentified Flying Obsession Podcast, or the UFO Podcast. You can find my show pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Podcatcher, whatever you use, you should be able to find me. If you can't, let me know and I will throw you a link and I'll hook you up.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 650 other episodes of the podcast, you can find everything we do on Podbean. If you enjoy the What Are You Playing, there will be a link in the show notes to all of the different episodes you can check out of that we do for the What Are You Playing for the last 4 years. I don't remember what it is. But you can go, they're all in there. You can go listen to all that. We do have a Patreon. If you want to support the show for a little $1 a month, you can vote in our Patreon. We have 1 to 2 polls every month, so definitely go support the show, and you get to affect what comes on the show. Because stuff put on Patreon doesn't. Sometimes I come back to it. Sometimes I never get back. I never get around to it, or at least take me years. So hey, you get to affect the show. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Elena at HellHatsFreak. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. You'll see a link to her link tree in the show notes. And check out our Discord. It's free. We're always happy to have new people join and chat with us. And I want to give a shout out to A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. Definitely go check out his podcast. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only. We are on all those different things. And please rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, all.
Take care, everybody.